basics we told about electoral bond yesterday, that introduced in 2018. It was a proposal made in budget 2017. Hence it was introduced in 2018. And since then it is in implementation. That in 2019, petition was filed. Petition was filed in the Supreme Court. It was challenged because it is considered that it promotes corruption. The Supreme Court has started hearing. It is still pending in sub judice. The case is still sub judice. Hence, it is also a criticism of Supreme Court. Because you know that we have told in that time in judiciary topic that how Supreme Court delays the important cases. It is a constitutional matter. It is an important case related to the policy of the government. So it should be heard early and given judgment on that, this side or that side. Then you should know that in 2017 itself, a question was asked when it was in news, when government proposed. So then let's say question was asked in Parliament that whether Election Commission and RBI, whether they had supported electoral bond. So a deputy minister in Parliament gave a statement, yes, they have not registered, means they have supported electoral bond. But in 2019, between 18 to 19, Huffington Post published a series of articles. In that it exposed that RBI and Election Commission of India did not support electoral bond. They had accessed information through whatever their sources, right, including RTI application. So they may have extracted information from inside the government, and then they published, it published a series of articles. And that articles resulted into exposure, that resulted into debate and discussion related to electoral bond. And then this petition was filed. So when Huffington Post published the articles, then again in Parliament there was clamor that the minister lied to the House. Hence, Finance Minister, the present Finance Minister in Parliament in 2019 accepted that yes, RBI and Election Commission of India did not support electoral bond. They had given a negative report on electoral bond introduction. This. Even government had honest admission. Right. And then when petition has been filed, the Supreme Court has also responded to electoral bond in negative to Supreme Court. But matter has not yet been heard finally, let's say that. This is how you can see the development related to electoral bond. Right. Exposure, then RTI application, information. It is not first time that on the floor of the House it has been lied. No, in Rafale deal also there was lie. In case of EWS reservation also there was lie. A minister lied on the floor of the House. So it has become now a trend that they often lie on the floor of the House, but now it does not matter. Then it has been found that in 2018 and 19, the funding, how the funding has gone, the facts 2018 and 19. The funding, if you see overall funding picture, So funding means it has gone 94% funding has gone to almost BJP. Right. And almost same denomination means 90% plus denomination are in 1 crore only. 1 crore. There are different types of denomination, like 1,000 you can pay. So 1,000 to 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh, and then 1 crore. Different denominations are there. So in 1 crore denomination, 90% plus payments are in 1 crore. And more than 90% payments have gone to one party. Now another exposure. Another exposure is this. It is said that, let's say banks, so basically selected banks, government will have selected banks. The bonds would be issued by the selected banks, including State Bank of India, so selected banks. Now it has been mentioned that banks will not maintain any record related to electoral bonds, who has bought electoral bonds. Hence, it will not be able to track and trace that who has bought bonds for which party. But in another disclosure by application of RTI to SBI, it has been found that the banks use alphabetic numericals, alphabetic numbers, and they can track who has bought how many bonds for which party. They use this. So now it is traceable. This is how. So it is traceable and trackable. This will find out. It is traceable and trackable. Hence, confidentiality of individual, those who have bought the bonds, that confidentiality will also not be maintained, which was its aim. Confidentiality not maintained. Right. And as we told that SBI is under control of Ministry of Finance, so don't you think that Ministry of Finance can seek information? Who will stop that? And it will not seek information. Now Supreme Court has issued directives. The Supreme Court has issued directive that political parties should give details to Election Commission of India. Bond details they will have to give. How much funds they have received through electoral bonds, they should disclose it to Election Commission of India. Right. This is how it has been made now. Right. Therefore, electoral bond, if you say as an instrument, it can be considered as the idea is good to eliminate black money in elections, but the tool has its flaws that instead of reducing black money, it can further encourage black money. In fact, it can make black money into white money. Means that is how it is called a sort of legalization of corruption. This you should know that. That's why, let's say, there are suggestions that how to reform it. How we can reform this? So there is a new idea, let's say. Again, it will come state funding. Whatever the issues we have related to money, electoral funding and etc., the matter will come or it will lead to one thing, state funding of election. State funding of election. Like an idea has been suggested, National Election Fund. Way forward, National Election Fund. There should be a National Election Fund. A new idea, you should know that. There should be one National Election Fund where people will fund. That's it. Funds will come. people. The way people are, let's say, buying bonds. So people will contribute to National Election Fund, the way people contribute to Prime Minister Relief Fund, PM Care Fund. So similarly, they can also contribute to National Election Fund. It will be managed by Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India will manage. The Election Commission of India will manage it. Now, this election fund will go to parties on the basis of their performance in election, percentage of vote. That is how partial funding. Means in past the idea was that state should fund and in kind and subsidies. But now the idea is that state can have a national election fund that is under the control of Election Commission of India, and then let's say that parties should be given funds from this on the basis of their performance in percentage of votes. But it is also added, whatever the literature you will read on electoral reforms, right? Whatever the literature you read, it will be told that political parties should have transparency, they should come under RTI, they should maintain their proper accounts, and their accounts should be audited. These things have become a sort of mandatory criteria for any other reforms to be successful or to be effectively implemented. So that is how parties should also have RTI, etc. That way you can write about way forward. About electoral bonds. Electoral bond should be either reformed so that it does not promote legalized corruption. Right. The concept of the electoral bond itself is flawed. Right. Hardly there is any scope to introduce reform in it. What change we can introduce? Right. So, unless you disclose, let's say you should disclose the name of those who give funds. That should be in public domain. Right. You should know that if you take international 75%, most of the countries 75% sources of funds. Right. In countries like US, France, Germany. So it is known to public that 75% means it is average. The 75% are more sources of funding to political party, whatever the funds they are getting. It is known to public that who has funded to which political party. But in our country it is being kept as secret. No. It is being kept as secret, that it should not be known to public. Right. So we are lagging reforms in electoral politics, and we need to bring reforms to address such problems. So that is how on electoral bond you should know. Right. So I will not dictate. Right. We'll give you that article, so you will read it. This is what we can say. Articles, you will get printed. Right. If you want to get printed, you can get printed, although we'll share the soft copies also. Right. So this is what we can say about this aspect. Then we'll take next means electronic voting machines. I'm trying to show you so that at least you can see it pictured. Then later on in by the time we'll take next. Next, electronic voting machines. EVMs. So, basically if you find that EVMs, we introduced 77, 78 type, first introduced. These are some facts. Yes, that is what we have said. Huffington Post India, it exposed related to electoral bond. This is how the question Parliament. It was led by Minister of State. Then she gave reply in 2019. This blah blah things mentioned. Supreme Court, the case is going on in Supreme Court. This is details of basics of the bond. So you can know by this. When you get this material, what are those basics? How the bond works. This nature, eligibility, lifespan. 15 days के लिए valid होता है. Right. It is issued. Government can issue time to time. Right. Some months they have fixed, keep each month, and in that month it is valid for 15 days. So you can read for a bit nitty-gritty details for prelims. Mains it is not needed. That is how this we were saying. 7.5% of average 3 years net profit. They cannot fund more than that. But now it has been abolished. So companies are free to keep record. This is how you know that. Section itna income tax. Companies contributing to electoral bond will not even be required to keep records of such donations, and if no records are mandatory maintainable, no question can be presumably asked by the IT authorities. So this process we have given कि कैसे favor हो सकता है. Right. Right. It is a process. If you see this, how let's say government, we have created an analogy how it can be a favor. So we have given like government favors business house 5,000 crore. Both have 50-50 deal. Business have to show to 2,500 crore as donation to ruling party in balance sheet, or find cash to secretly hand over. Then if payment is wide, party need to declare name of donor to IT. This with election bond means bond in place, company will purchase bond and hand over to party. Right. Company's balance sheet will only show purchase of election bond without naming party. Right. And then party will show all itna crore white income to election commission, IT department return without revealing quid pro quo and in identity of donor. So this is this is what you were saying. Right. Electron bond party wise BJP को ये सारा गया है. Only let's say that कि कांग्रेस को मिला है, बाकी किसी को नहीं मिला. This is how denominations I was saying. 1 crore का denomination है 91%. Right. Less, you can see that. The more you increase the 10 lakh, so who will give 1 crore denomination? Right. This is to know that. That is how way forward, etc. National Election Fund. A new idea. This is how you will find 75% of the funds. Basically, ED is basically based on lots of research. So, we are thinking to compile 10 years of ED in, let's say, it will become very good resource material, but it is very challenging task, although we are trying to do. So we have done for internal security, I guess, internal security. Now we have completed disaster management. So we are trying to compile those things because we do lots of, the team, lots of research, you know that. So it is found that Bhutan, Nepal, Germany, France, Italy, Brazil, US, Japan, all these countries, let's say, they have 75% source of funds to be unknown, but at present in India it is so. It is not unknown, it is known to people. Right. This is conclusion. Then we are taking this electronic voting machines. Let me show that. That I will not also dictate because it is another article. Means we'll delete it. This is the security system of, let's say, if you talk. Yes, electronic voting machines. Before I go, as we have written some facts, so let me give some facts. Then we'll come to. These are some facts, let's say. In 77, Election Commission proposed to introduce electronic voting machine. 1988, presentation was made, amendment was done in 61A of Representation of People Act. 1990, Electoral Reforms Committee appointed. Expert party evaluation of EVN. In 2000, we introduced, then 2013, Supreme Court directs for VVPAT, and it used, VVPAT was used in Goa other elections. Now selectively Election Commission uses VVPAT. These facts. Basically, this, it was one person, right, seeking asylum in US, right. He exposed Syed Suja. That remained quiet in news, debate, lots of things happened. When he exposed that, I can temper electronic voting machine. And he did it through video. He released one video, right, and in that he told how it can be tempered. So that resulted into lots of debate on electronic voting machines, whether they can be, let's say, tampered, etc. In past, it happens, let's say, electronic voting machines are questioned by different parties, those who are in opposition. It is a trend, you should know that. Electronic voting machine, like if a party is in opposition, including BJP, the BJP had also questioned about electronic voting machine. This is how it is given. LK Advani alleged the EVM were not foolproof. So the party which is in power, it says it is foolproof. The party which is in opposition, it alleges, including in UP election. It has become a trend, a sort of trend that you start alleging about electronic voting machines, including in West Bengal elections. This. Then it has been challenged to the courts also, where, let's say, high courts, etc. There are some reports, let's say 3% of AVN in Madhya Pradesh experienced glitches during the election in November and there were a string of suspicion incidents, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan. So these are basically some reports related to this. Then you can see that how there are 3 stages, let's say. 3 stages flaws have been exposed. That is called before polling. The chips components replaced with lookalikes that favor political party. Right. Means chips components can be replaced. This is how it is being said. Then to beat mock drills, manipulations programmed such that it kicks it only once when voting has been going on. Basically, it happens that electronic voting machine has been set in such a fashion that when mock drill happens, it gives right result. But when elections, let's say you take the electronic voting machines to election time, then the same is not experienced. And chip with a Bluetooth link placed in an AVM control from a mobile phone. This it can be, let's say, that possible. Means doubts have been raised. Then during poll time, let's say EVM can be rigged to switch votes between the candidates. Like let's say that if you cast your vote to anyone, but it will go to only one desired candidate. Voter cannot know whether the vote reported is same as vote cast. This you can say that. So whatever the vote you have cast, so because there is no VVPAT, voter verifiable paper audit trail. The VVPAT is that if you are voting candidate A, the VVPAT will say that yes, the vote has gone to that Mr. A. So you do not know that whether your vote has gone to the candidate or not, because VVPAT we are not using. It is alleged that recorded vote may never be cast. This you can say this. There is no reliable way to detect errors in the recording votes. Then portable hardware devices can change vote record stored in machines. Basically chips, let's say chips can be tempered. This is how it is said that. And physical seal, this it is, let's say that red wax is not difficult to tinker with. Means at all the 3 stages doubts have been raised that there are chances for its tampering. Response, Election Commission responds that no, it is foolproof. This is how I can say. 2 companies, they are very independent, very strict supervision is done for manufacturing of electronic voting machines. Bharat Electronics Limited and Electronics Corporation of India Limited. So they manufacture it, plus they have a security system, and empirical facts are also not there. So they have a security system, and that is how it is very difficult for to let's say breach those security system. That is how it claims that it has 2 units, control ballot unit. Basically, they have given description of the electronic voting machine. It is a description of electronic voting ballot unit, this control unit, and this is how the person will vote here. So it will be, let's say, recorded here. Overall security system, this is how you will find that. The technological strength, because it is manufactured by 2 such company and there is control on them. Then administrative, let's say that they have a foolproof protective custody of all stages, from let's say that storing the machines in a strong room to moving them to the polling station through 3 level of checks and 3 mock polls. So there is administrative system also. Then technical watchdog also will find that. Basically IITs are taken, let's say, brought. Then judicial scrutiny has also been done. Judicial scrutiny has been done if you see, let's say, high courts. The high courts, and none of the high courts will find that has found any such flaw in EVM so far, whenever cases have gone to, because they have trusted Election Commission of India. Then Supreme Court, let's say, it has gone and appreciated tamper-proof EVMs. It has appreciated also, and it, let's say, recommended for introduction of VVPAT. That M1, M2, M3 that I was talking, it is this. M1 technology was used, means technological innovation it is, between 89 to 2006. And then we had M2 and M3, it is considered sophisticated technological feature like one-time programmable microcontrollers, dynamic coding of key codes and date and time, stamping of each and every key press, advanced encryption technology and EVM tracking software to handle EVM logistics. So basically they are already programmed with code and it is very difficult to crack it. If you crack it, so it will not work. Means each EVM has been, let's say that ki under such security system, they have microcontroller, let's say that ki one time programmable, it is one time वो एक ही time काम करेगा. This is how you should know that. Dynamic coding of key codes, the coding is very different, means different types of coding which is not known to everyone, and date and time of stamping, this is how on that EVM machine. So M3 technology is considered, I will tell you that, ki best technology in the world. As of now, the technology Election Commission is using for EVM, it is best in the world. No other country has used such technology. That is how it is also claimed by Election Commission of India. And that's why, let's say that in other countries it was not as effective. You should know. Then many things, let's say. Then the question comes, even if you have all such, let's say that, even if you have all such technology, right, and it is, you say it is foolproof, still you have to clear, yesterday we were saying that, still you have to clear the doubts of people. Right, this. That is some of the reports which are coming, so what you don't have any, so let's say, satisfactory explanation. The Election Commission of India does not have satisfactory explanation on that. This. And when it does not have, let's say that, it is, some points have been raised, trust on the manufacturer, and this is all that matters. So you say that the manufacturing is done by them, so and it is, nobody can tamper it, or let's say that have vested access, means vested interest cannot access them, so then it is a matter of simple trust. Right. Quick result, this method, secondary consideration. Both capturing is very difficult in age of this, tampering is much destructive. So basically these points are raised, should India return to ballot, let's say, paper. So that is how when EVM issues are raised, so then we start talking on ballot paper. But ballot paper is even worse than EVM in case of India, you should know that. The ballot paper should not be favored because given the situation, first ballot paper will also increase, let's say that paper cost. The paper cost will, let's say, it will give chance for rigging. Try to understand. Technology. So technology can be, we don't, if you are expecting that it is 100% error free, if you are expecting that it is 100% error free, okay, it is wrong. It will not be 100% error free, because it is technology operated by human. So even if suppose it is 95% error free, it is good. But just because of 5% reports, we cannot say 90% is wrong. Are you able to understand? All criticisms will be neutralized by this. So as of now, we do not have any such report which is credible to prove that EVMs can be rigged and tampered. There can be some malfunctioning, there can be some suspicious, let's say, conditions in which an EVM can be caught. But the question is that 95% even if it is still successful. Because of 5% we cannot say because in 95% it is giving free and fair result. Ballot paper not give even 95%. Ballot paper will not give even 95%. Right. Each and every ballot is subject to be rigged, but each and every electronic voting machine is not subject to be rigged. This you have to understand. Right. So if you compare both, so ballot is introduced in Western countries because they have a small population. small population, good resource, healthy democracy, less challenge. So for them it does not matter whether it is a voting machine or a ballot paper. Right. But in our country, let's say that it matters when you know lots of challenges we have of elections. There are lots of challenges of elections, you know. In that scenario, still electronic voting machines should be supported, whatever the criticisms you have. Yes, election commission will have to address also the problems which are surfacing related to this. Why those problems are happening. Right. So it is a challenge for election commission. However, now election commission of India cannot be blamed completely for that. This also you should know. Why we are getting problems in that? It can be manufacturing flaw. भाई product है तो flaw तो हो ही सकता है, isn't it? Right. Day before yesterday, so I went to Gangaram for my checkup, let's say. So that day I did not carry my mask. Every day I carry my mask, although I do not wear. That day I forgot to bring my mask. And I was going in hospital. I bought one mask. In hospital there is one pharmacy. When I opened the mask, it was just upside down. The mask, let's say that, the mask has like this, na? I have a mask, I will show this. It is the mask, let's say that. The mask has this, but these, let's say that, both are here. Right. The laces, you know. Right. What I should do? I was in a hurry, appointment was already taken. Right. My turn was supposed to come. Right. I wore in that way only, right? Like this. So the question is that manufacturing flaw, right? So let's say that EVMs can have manufacturing, let's say that defects. Even if you have scrutiny, multi-layers, still it can be possible. Why you are not thinking in that way? Right. First, second. See, EVMs have their lifetime and they demand replacement. Once they are used, they have their lifetime. After that, you have to dispose them. So when you have to dispose them, you have to manufacture new one. To manufacture new one, you need funding. So it depends on government whether government is giving funds to Election Commission of India or it is overusing electronic voting machines. That is one problem. That's why malfunctioning we are getting. Second, that why bvATW we have not introduced voter verifiable paper audit trail. Right. It has been introduced but not at all polling booths. Random selected, but it was mentioned that no, you have to introduce it at each and every polling booth. Each and every polling booth, for which Election Commission of India again needs funds from government. Government has not given fund. What you will do? Even Supreme Court ordered that you give fund to Election Commission of India. Still fund has not been given, right, to the level it needs to implement at national level. So flaws are with government, not Election Commission of India. To introduce bvATW, this is how it should work. So as far as, let's say that if EVMs are concerned, if you say, still, even if there have been allegations, even that's Shah Suja, kya naam tha uska, Syed Suja. He released video, thereafter he disappeared. उसके बाद पता ही नहीं चला. Right. So it was, let's say that then Election Commission of India set one camp, tent लगाया Election Commission of India ने. Right. The Election Commission of India had one camp. It invited all political parties. It brought electronic voting machines, and it told that you prove it how it is, how you tamper it. This some political parties went there. They took their tea, coffee, samosa, etc. This is how it is. This is how nothing happened. It has given open challenge also. Right? In EVM, in open challenge, we have not been able to prove Election Commission wrong, although in Aadhaar, open challenge. Right. So it was proved wrong. So this is Election Commission of India. So इतना छोटा body भी नहीं है वो, and criticisms are there, but criticisms का मतलब ये नहीं है कि it is an institution you can take task to any time by anyone. Right. This is should know. So that is how ultimately we have to conclude in favor of electronic voting machines. Although we have to say that we should introduce bvPAT and we should not overuse electronic voting machines. We should manufacture new electronic voting machines. This and this is how ballot also we have analyzed. You can see yourself ki plus minus of ballot etc. Then we have given this bvPAT a bit details because a question also has already been asked on bvPAT electronic voting machines. It was in news that time, so a question was also asked on that. Some plus minus things are written, you can see this. And then this is how ultimately we will say this. You will find it is important for Election Commission to regain trust and confidence of all stakeholders in election system in India. bvPAT has been given emphasis in this. Rather than moving towards ballot system of election, the focus should be on improving the efficiency, credibility and transparency of EVM bvPAT enabled electoral process. And that is how finally it has been. This Election Commission should now focus on conducting an election. It was article prepared before that. So since this article was prepared during the debate of 2019, so that is how it is concluded in the conclusion in that context. And that is how it has been written that Election Commission of India now should focus on conducting an election with bvPAT. Right. So that was the demand that time, but it was not done. So what we can say about electronic voting machines, if you say the positives of electronic voting machines, the first thing is that it let's say that it minimizes paper roll, let's say that. Then it is less, means it gives very less scope for rigging and booth capturing. अगर कोई इलेक्ट्रॉनिक वोटिंग मशीन कैप्चर भी कर लेगा ना तो वो टैम्पर नहीं कर सकता है, बिकॉज इट इज कोडेड. उसको वो डिस्ट्रॉय ही कर सकता है. दिस तो अब बहुत ही मुश्किल है. आज तक ये नहीं, वी हैव नॉट फाउंड सो फार कि ईवीएम वाज कैप्चर्ड. यू हैव नेवर हर्ड लाइक दिस. बैलेट पेपर वाज कैप्चर्ड. आर यू अवेयर? Right. If you belong to Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, so you will have the, let's say that scenario of all these things. We have grown up like watching all these things. So when elections will happen, we were very small, let's say kids, so we'll hear let's say, and we'll have lots of enjoyment on that. Right. So means they were carrying a ballot box on tractor and etc. And then on the way, let's say that ballot box was taken away by this political party. And that kind of things happen in Uttar Pradesh. Right? Then there will be re-election, let's say that the re-election will be ordered. In my area, let's say there will be always Brahmin and Kshatriya, let's say, fight. The Brahmin and Kshatriya fight, let's say. And Kshatriya will always, let's say that beat Brahmins like anything. And on polling day, they will go first on polling, let's say that polling site, and they will not let even Brahmins to go there. And they will cast the vote of all entire people after. Right. So that kind of era, let's say, you'll find that always there was re-election. In my area, there was always re-election. Right. Every time election conducted, it is postponed. Lots of violence happened, stoning, let's say that, fight. So imagine like this, that time an electronic voting machines, let's say, the electronic voting machines advantage is, it reduces the need for paperwork expenditure, it minimizes, it is more convenient than ballot box, and let's say it is more, means it gives very less scope for any sort of rigging and tampering, means it makes or it helps in conducting elections free and fair. Right. And it is, since it is convenient also, so that is what we can consider that it brings, let's say, conducting elections, so it helps in making election more convenient, and it enhances also trust of people. But at the same time, since it is a technology, and technology cannot be 100% foolproof, even if it is claimed, it will have, let's say, there some problems, this or that, and therefore election commission shall be always vigilant. It should be vigilant and proactive to tackle that kind of challenges, and that is how we can say on election.